starting to mount the blower on the Junior. I took the carburetor and the intake off. It comes in at a pretty good angle. I also took this plate off of the blower. So I found this piece in the shop, just a scrap piece, and I'm gonna trace that on there, cut it out, and I'm gonna take the carburetor and trace it on the other side, cut it out, and then I'll weld a tube onto that, and that will be the tube between the blower and the block. Then I'll put brackets on here to help support the blower. Put the pulley on there. Intake will go on the other side. Intake and carburetor will go on the other side of the blower. I'll build a little adapter for that. Okay, I've got that traced on there, and that from the intake for the carburetor traced on there. I'll drill a hole out there, but you can kind of see it. There'll be a hole there. Got to cut that out and make it to where it'll fit. I've got the first little piece made. I built this little deal and welded that onto it. You can see in there. And then next I built this plate, and it gets welded on here, but I've got to set it up, clock it correctly, then make sure the pulley, there will be a pulley on the outside of that flywheel, and make sure that they'll line up. Weld that clears. Then that'll be mounted. I'm going to put some extra braces on it. Then I'm going to take this plate that's on the blower. I'm going to cut this off and drill holes in it for the carburetor just to bolt up. Then it will be mounted. But I'm going to show you guys what it looks like before I put the extra brackets on it. Because it'll be mounted. It'll be sitting there and looking good. The blower's mounted. It's not exactly perfectly lined up, but it's a V-belt, so it'll be close enough. But that is pretty cool. Blower mounted. There is room on the header. Right now it's just held on there with one bolt there, one bolt up high, and the bottom one's started, so it's holding it square and all that good stuff. I can adjust some of the squareness by slotting this hole, and then it will rotate just a little bit to square that up. Shouldn't be a problem. Next I'm going to take this off, drill the holes in here for the carburetor. I may pull the carburetor or the intake manifold off and just put the carburetor about like that. That way it'll be closer and won't stick out there ridiculously. Okay, carburetor's not really mounted yet. I still have a plate to put there, but I'm ready to go home, so I'm just going to give you guys an idea of what it's going to look like. The air cleaner will be turned around a little bit. Carburetor will be squared up, of course. But air cleaner will go the other direction like normal. Just got to spin that around. We'll get some pulleys, get all that figured out. We'll have a brace that goes from here down to here, and that'll help support it, because it's going to be rattling around and doing all kinds of weird things. Okay, I have it together with the exception of a brace or two, but I built this plate right here for this little carburetor grommet and completely took out the intake that went here between the carburetor and the block. Took that out, that way it kind of shortened things up, otherwise it'd be as long as the car. Built that plate and built this plate, and that's all I had to build to put it on there. I am going to put a brace on there. The blower's got a couple brackets, so I'll put a brace on there. Then I need a pulley on the flywheel, and it should be ready to fire up. We're that close. I do think I need to put a little bit of oil in the blower. Self-contained, so I don't have to pressurize anything. Alright, I got it all set up with, I built this little bracket right here, and that's just an extra support. This is a pretty substantial piece, but it's just held in with 2 bolts. If I have problems, I may rebuild this little piece right here and bring it out here, drill and tap another hole on both sides. That'll just give it a little extra clamping force, but I don't want to make as much power as that blower is capable of to start with. I still have to run an index, so I just want this little motor to run with the big motors on a budget. But that is a blown alcohol junior dragster motor. If I can find a pulley for the bottom in the next day or two, I should be able to have this running on the dyno. I want to make just some short hits, just something easy, and then completely freshen the motor. Mostly just fire it up, make sure it doesn't, destroy itself, that it will run before I freshen the motor. Not a lot of passes on the motor currently, but should be in a couple days if I can find a pulley.